Today we're going to look at the most man-expensive MTG flyers in Magic the Gathering. We're going to start off with Arcady Sabbath. It's a blue, blue, white, white, green, green, 2 generic 7/7 Elder Dragon. It's one of the OGs of the Dragon Pact. It has flying, of course. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Arcady Sabbath unless you pay banned. And each untapped creature you control gets +0/+2 as long as it's not attacking. That is not particularly useful to me then. And then we have, for a white, Arcady Sabbath gets +0/+1 until end of turn. So it's got the ability to make the butt bigger. Everyone's butt gets bigger. Unless you attack, then it shrinks. You go back down to regular butt size. It's like, I'm wondering if you can build around this card. Like, you build a deck that's based around attacking based on your defense. And I think between white and green, you've got a lot working for you there. In some really weird world, I think you can make this work. For 8 mana, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen in the world. Although, if you just randomly throw this in your Bant deck, it's probably going to be absolute stone cold trash. Okay, we got your friendly neighborhood idiot with Ancient Gold Dragon. Probably gonna be a lot of dragons on the show. A lot of dragons fly. We got 7 mana, 7/10 Elder Dragon. Oh, it's another Elder Dragon. Old and dragon-like. Whenever Ancient Gold Dragon deals combat damage to a player, you can roll a d20. And you create a number of 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature tokens with flying equal to the result. That's insane! So what, I can make 21/1 blue fairy dragons? This is one of the most ultimate, and it's like not even based on its power. I just attack, it deals combat damage to a player. I just have to swing in, punch, even for 1 damage, and we roll in the dice. And I feel lucky today. I'm gonna have a bunch of fairy dragons on the battlefield. All right, this card's great. Why does it make blue fairy dragons? What does that have to do with this white elder dragon? Huh, strange. What's the time right now? The time for me, I always start at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, but the time is going to change to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay, next up, Abzo's Red Eyes Black Dragon. That cannot be a real card. That's a Yu-Gi-Oh card, right? Red Eyes, Jesse's Red Eyes Black Dragon. No, that doesn't qualify on this show. You're in the wrong YouTube channel. I'm totally down. Terror of the Peaks. Terror of the Peaks. Oh, it's fun. Okay, so I made a mistake. I started the show. It says 5 CMC or greater. That was my bad on me. So if there's gonna be 5 mana dragons, we'll look at it. But there's just too many 5 mana flyers that so you have to keep it like 6 mana or higher. But we'll look at this one. All right, 5 mana for a 5/4 dragon. Flying spells your opponent's cast that trigger Terror of the Peaks cost an additional 3 life to cast. And also, whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. This card is a banger. Basically turns all your creatures into Flame Tongue Kavu. Play a creature, shoot down another creature. Where's my shoot down sound effect?
Enemy spotted.
Yeah, you're gonna be spotted. You're gonna get bolted down. Oh, this is a new one. Or is this reprinted? No, this is not new. This is old. I'm like, this card's old. I've seen this a million times. It's just getting reprinted in Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Thunder Junction. That's what happens when you get to 5 CMC or lower. They're all worth it. They're all incredible. Bacon Cat Bug. Let's get with Broodstar. Broodstar is a 10 mana. What is this? 10 mana, star affinity for artifacts. It's got flying. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of artifacts you control. I honestly don't think this is all that... I can't tell, but I don't think it's that good. And why is it throwing up in the middle of the sea? Is that why it gets stronger? Its power and toughness are each equal to the amount of barf that it's surrounded itself with. Like, the thing is, if you have 8 artifacts in play, I don't even know why you're playing this card. It's just basically like a 2 mana clunker. It's like, it's okay. It's like a cranial plating by itself, I guess. I'm gonna give it a no though. 2 thumb, maybe 1 thumb down. Like, you know, if you don't interact with this thing, it's gonna kill you probably. It's gonna kill you probably, maybe. Arcana says, I actually think Broodstall is pulling stuff up into itself instead of barfing it. Okay, that's possible. Well, it's doing a little bit of abduction. It's going to absorb your soul. Your soul is going to become part of Broodstar. Okay, next up, we'll take a look at, oh, Geo with the Vein Ripper. This is a new one. So for those who don't know, this card looks like a commander card, but it's tearing up Pioneer at the moment. It's a 6-mana, 6/5 flyer, Vampire Assassin, ward, sacrifice a creature. And whenever a creature dies, target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Like, it is a mega, it's like, it's an upgraded version of Blood Artist, and it's really evil, because you have to sack your own creature to kill this thing, which also means it's going to drain your life total by some amount. And yeah, it can, like, sort of really cascade out of control. Just the fact that it's on the board puts you in a really bad spot. It's hard to attack into, it flies. Yeah, I have nothing else to say about this card. It's a complete banger. Ended up being a lot better than we thought. Christopher B says, a minute behind. Did you confuse Joey for Jesse? Dude, you've been watching Duel Monsters, not GX. The Southern Boy with the Gem Beast isn't for another 300 episodes. Well, I don't know. I've been just watching, yeah, I've been watching Duel Monsters. Joey for, oh, I probably did mix up Joey for Jesse. Joey! I don't know, Joey, Jesse. Sounds close enough to me. Honestly, all the side characters, I don't really remember their names very well. Next up, Stranger Candy with Hornet Queen. Hornet Queen getting busy. Laying, I don't want to say laying eggs, laying larvae. Okay, 7 mana for a 2/2 flying and death touch. Enters the battlefield, create 4 1/1 green insect creature tokens with flying and death touch. This card, it danger! Honestly, if it enters the battlefield, you're doomed. The thing has death touch, everything else has death touch. It creates this wall of insects that's impossible to get through unless you sweep the board. Basically, a Hornet Queen hits the battlefield. Alright, you stay off my turf. Don't even look this way. You attack, don't worry, I will sacrifice my kids one at a time. Basically, a bee for a whole person. One at a time. Summer says, Nikachu, in 5DS, for one episode, there is a Joe character called Jesse Wheeler. You just got him confused for his cousin. Oh, I guess so. You guys know more about Yu-Gi-Oh! Than I do. I've only gone through 1 season. Yeah, I'm still stuck. I'm not stuck in Duel Monsters. I finished the thing not too long ago. Okay, what's with this old Gnawbone? Who else is calling for old Gnawbone? I swear I've seen it like 12 times at this point. Okay, I can't find other people, but we'll do it. Okay, Shellin, we'll do it. We'll do Old Gnawbone. It is a 7-mana 7/7. Oh, this thing. Yeah, the dragon. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you create that many treasures. Where's my treasure sound effect? An ancient green dragon is often seen with mangled corpse dangling from her mouth. This card is also quite incredible. So it's a bit clunky, but as soon as you start dealing damage, you'll make some absurd amount of mana to run away with the game. This turns out there's a lot of really expensive Magic the Gathering cards that are actually worth it. If you can get to 7 mana, this can cascade in your favor. Okay, next up. Christopher B's Devouring Strosus. Devouring Strosus is an 8-mana 9/9 flying trample. At the beginning of your upkeep, sack a creature, sacrifice a creature, regenerate Devouring Strosus. Yeah, it's not terrible. I'm gonna put it on the lukewarm scale. Now, the fact that you can regenerate this thing is actually quite nice. Trample is great because not only flying is usually evasive enough, but just in case your opponent tries to block your creature with an old Gnawbone, well, you're gonna trample over for at least an extra 2 points of damage. But outside of that, it has no like ways of really taking over the game. It's just a very strong, it's sort of, what's it called? It's the black version of Broodstar. It's just a big creature, just a big flying beater coming to beat them for a huge chunk of damage. Actually gonna come across the aisle for 9 points. At least a little bit. Okay, we got Blazing Archon from Starfire Dragon. This is a, it's funny, your name is Starfire Dragon, and you did not mention a dragon, you mentioned an Archon. So for 9 mana, 5/6, creatures can't attack you. That is busted. It's basically a flying creature with moat attached to it. Definitely an incredible creature. Through the haze of battle, I saw the glint of sun on a golden mane, the sheen of glory clad in mail, and I dropped my sword and wept at the idiocy of war. How much do people love playing against Moat? Well, this is worse than Moat, because apparently even flying creatures can't even get through this creature. What's the idea? It's like it's so bright that it blinds you and you can't attack? Is that the flavor? It should be like creatures with eyes can't attack you. If one of the creatures is blind or has no eyeballs, like some sort of zombie, they should still be able to attack you. Still get hit by burn. Well, there's nothing that says that you can't get hit by damage, or drain life, or lose the game. Just the creatures can't attack you. Reading the flavor explains the flavor. Through the haze of battle, I dropped my sword and wept at the idiocy of war. I don't get it. What do you mean the haze of battle? The sun on golden mane, the sheen of glory. So I thought, well, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's this, the creature's so bright, you can't attack through it. Okay, our first super chat for the day. We got Meme Bruley, Abashan, Cephalid's Emperor. Now, this is a 6 mana 3/3, but does not actually, does the other one fly? This is a Cephalid creature, does not fly. This show is about flying creatures. Tap and untap Cephalid, you control tap target creature. We tap all creatures without flying, but the creature itself does not fly. So we will donate the super chat to Mordrak Grizzlebrand. Grizzlebrand, it's broken. Still sees play everywhere. It's 8 mana for a 7/7, flying lifelink, pay 7 life, draw 7 cards, banned in Commander, banned in Oathbreaker. It's not impossible to beat, to be honest. Like, in one-on-one Magic, this card is, like, good, but if you can get your opponent down to 7 or less life, then it becomes useless. And even if they can cheat it in play, if they're at 6 life, they can't draw 7 cards, and then you can just remove the Grizzlebrand in front of you through, like, you know, some sort of white removal spell. Swords to Plowshares, for example, Path to Exile, Solitude, and clear the way for victory. So it's like, it's not impossible. If you know you're up against Grizzlebrand deck, you got to be fast, all right? You can feel the race start, and you have to get that damage in 1 turn at a time, as much as you can before they find and plop that Grizzlebrand down. A lot harder for you guys in Commander. You got 40 life, so good luck getting your opponent down to less than 7 life. That is not so easy. Trying to win the old-fashioned way. Damage, 1 damage at a time. Why isn't Grizzlebrand 7 mana? Everything else about it is 7. I bet they playtest and are like, this is too broken at 7 mana. No, we just can't have this. Maybe they balanced it for Commander. Who knows? It's an old card. Commander was just, the birth of Commander was just starting. Okay, who have I not got? We got Toilet Duck, Achroma, Angel of Fury. Achroma Angel of Fury is an 8 mana 6/6. Can't be countered. Flying Trample, protection from white and from blue. Pro blue, not useful. Pro white, very useful. Pay a red. It gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So it's got fire breathing. It can morph. What do you want to morph it for? Morph for 6? Oh yeah, I want to play this thing for 3 mana. It's a 2/2. It could be anything. It's so weird. Oh, you get a discount if you do it that way. Does it flip over? It's a good card. Protection from white by itself is pretty amazing, and also it like nails counterspell decks pretty hard. Okay, Spectral Maniac, Belladross, Witherbloom. Is one of my pet cards. It can make for some pretty nutty turns. It is a 7 mana 4/4 with flying. It's another Elder Dragon. How many Elder Dragons are there? Is there like an Elder Dragon for each color, each faction? each triome, sorry, it's called wedges and not allies. Remember, all these color combinations have some weird name to it. Okay, at the beginning of each upkeep, create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. Well, that's some benefit. Pay 10 life. Untap all lands you control. Activate only once each turn. So it doubles your mana. So it's free, right? It's just 7 mana, and then do whatever the hell you want. Create a 1. So and we also get a 1/1 every single turn to help us gain our life back. So it's okay. What do we have here? We've got, is it Peregrine Drake? Peregrine Drake. Yeah, it's a Peregrine Drake, because effectively you can, like, come on, you can pay for it. Pay your 10 life.
No, God, please, no.
And untap all your lands. So it's a free cast, and it's a Bitter Blossom. It's a Bitter Blossom that gains you life, because whenever those 1/1s die, you actually get something. I like this card a lot. Next up. Oh, I have another super chat here. Sorry about that, King Ginger. What happened, King Ginger? Sphinx Ambassador. Sphinx Ambassador is a blue 5 generic 5/5 Sphinx flying. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, search that player's library for a card. Then that player names a card. If you searched for a creature card that isn't the named card, you may put it on the battlefield under your control. Then that player shuffles their library. I didn't quite catch it. It deals combat damage to a player. Is this like bribery on a creature? Hold on, then for a card, that player names a card. If you search for a card that isn't the name card, you may put... Oh, that is so neat! I love that! So it's like, I look for a card. Can you name it? If you name the card that I just grabbed from your deck, then it will be destroyed. But if you guess wrong, then I put it directly onto the battlefield. And of course... You're not Pegasus, so there is no way that you can know the card that I took from your deck. Did I take your best card? Or do you think that I didn't take your best card because you know that I would not take your best card, so I took your second best card? What is the real answer here? Anyway, I think that's a pretty cool card. Bit of mind game going on here. Now that being said, bribery sort of sucks. Like I've played bribery. It's sort of cool. But usually, I don't know about the rest of you. I just never get any good value out of bribery. You know, because the thing is, you don't get any cast triggers off of some of the best cards. You do get, like, ETBs. Bold of you to remember. Bold of you to assume I remember what's in my deck. Is that Booba or arm muscles? I think it's Booba. It's Booba. It's Boba. Repeatable bribery. Well, not for long. You hit one person and everyone's gonna wail on you. That's gonna lot. No one wants you to take their best card in their deck. Okay, I will. And you do. It doesn't have trample. You do have to smack them. No ETB. Okay, I'll give it a pass because it's so unique, I guess. Tommy Sin says, "Not my most proudest fan." You keep that to yourself. Okay, moving on. We're going to take a look at... who doesn't got a card yet? Yeah, we're voting for flying today. Voting for flying. Okay, a Blackbird. Terror of Mount Velas. The Terror at Mount... Oh, sorry. Terror of Mount Velas. Ugh, can't spell this at all. Just can't spell this for the life of me. Terror of Mount Velas. It is a 7-mana 5/5 dragon. Flying double strike. Enters the battlefield. Creatures you control gain double strike until end of turn. It's an okay finisher. Honestly, I'm not particularly impressed with this card. If you don't have a whole lot of creatures out, this thing's not particularly strong. Double strike is not trample, so if your opponent has a lot of blockers, it's like quite okay. It's like lukewarm. Gonna put on the lower end of the power scale on this show. Okay, King Ginger, another super chat. You've got, this time, Infernal Sovereign. We got a 6-mana 6/6 demon, flying trample. Skip your draw step. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Whenever you play a land, you get value. Oh, but you have to skip your draw step. So this has big upside. I mean, if you have fetch lands, or like as many fetch lands as you can, which unfortunately you can't play in as so many in Commander. Flying Trample, whenever you play a land or cast a spell. You know what, I don't know if I can say no to this. So long as you keep playing spells and playing lands, like how can you go wrong? You would literally have to draw into a bunch of cards that you can't cast in order for this thing, like you have to draw into like the top end of your curve. You don't have enough lands to cast the spells in your hand for you to get locked out by this card. I think this card's amazing. I'm actually surprised it's so cheap at 6 mana. That's a bargain. 6 mana for like a weird pseudo Necropotence. Ubertune is like, that's pretty solid. Joe with Consecrated Sphinx. I never thought of it. Is it what does even Consecrated Sphinx mean? It's like a concentration of sphinxes all mashed into one or something? I don't even know. Where the hell is the head to... Oh, here's the head to this thing. So it's got this big neck, big collar. The energy of the sphinxes bound to one. Anyway, 6 mana, 4/6 flying. Whenever an opponent draws a card, you may draw 2 cards. So, okay, there's 2 answers to this card. If you are playing Casual Commander, it's a banger. If you are playing Competitive Commander, this card's stone cold trash. It is like, I don't know. Maybe it's not that bad. Here, I was about to give it the Titanic sound effect. It's not Titanic sound effect bad, but at a competitive level, it's just like really clunky and dirtily. Like you could throw it in if you want, but it's just so very expensive and unreliable. Consecrated, not concentrated. Oh, thank you so much. I didn't even catch that. Thank you so much. I look like an idiot for the millionth time. Yeah, it's Consecrated Sphinx, not so Well, now from now on, I'm calling it the Concentrated Sphinx. Concentrates very hard to get those 2 cards every single turn. Concentrates very hard. David, Brunelite, Alabaster. Oh, you mean Light of Alabaster? 6 mana, 5/5 Angel with Vigilance. Whenever Brunelite Alabaster attacks or blocks, you may attach it to any number of auras on the battlefield, and you may put onto the battlefield attached to it any number of auras that could enchant it from your graveyard and or hand. I think the ability is very strong. The ultimate problem is you have to play with aura cards, which I guess you don't need to play very many. Like, you don't have to build your deck around auras. You can just have a few good ones in your deck, or even ones that you tutor for. You can play like Enlightened Tutor to get that one aura that's necessary. I guess I think the card can be pretty good. I like that you get the ability of both on attack and block, because it is like basically effectively good on defense, preventing people or deterring people from attacking you. You want to attack me? Well, if you do that, we're going to aura time. And who knows what's in my hand? You never know. Could be something busted. Could be nothing. Could be a boat. Okay, Elixir. What is this? The Earthquake Dragon. If you want expensive. Holy moly! Even if I took a mortgage on my house, I can't pay for this. I would have to liquidate all my magic cards, sell my soul to the devil, basically take out 15 credit cards, max them all out. Probably have to do some big betting on the stock market or even in the Magic the Gathering market, and maybe I can pay for this 15 mana. It is a 10/10 elemental dragon, and it costs X less to cast, where X is the total mana value of dragons you control. Oh, okay, so it's not that bad. Like, it's like a discount or whatever. Yeah, it's not really that cost. So if you get like any dragon, you get 2 dragons out, it's just going to cost as much as a regular dragon. Now, it's got Flying and Trample. Pay 3, sacrifice a land, return Earthquake Dragon from your graveyard to your hand. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. You get a recurable source of a dragon over and over and over again. Although it's not going to be that good over a board wipe, because you got to rebuild the other dragons to help cast your Earthquake Dragon. Surefire sells from the phone for the first time. That's right. The stream works on mobile. Watch me on mobile. Watch me on TV. Anyone out there watch me on TV? Watch me on TV for while you're eating breakfast, while you're having supper or dinner, while you're taking care of the kids. That's right. Enjoy. Come watch Uncle Nikachu talk about flying dragons and stuff. Okay, we got Mike the Red 123. Probably going to be a red-green deck to make this work. Probably. I mean, whatever. Anything with big dragons. You get two. It's basically like get 2 dragons, get your 3rd one for the same price. Alexander uses a TV instead of a monitor. Oh yeah, well they work all the same if you can. If it's those 4K televisions. Okay, David Sampson really trying really hard to get the Tide Spout Tyrant out. Tide Spout Tyrant. I don't even. Does it even matter that this thing has flying? So it's 8 mana for a 5/5, and whatever you cast a spell, return target permanent to its owner's hand. Like, it's completely unnecessary. I mean, I guess there's a world where your opponent has a lot of stuff in play, a lot of blockers. You know, you can't play that many spells to bounce everything. You fly over. Anyway, this genie is broken. Yeah, cast spells, bounce permanents back to their hand. Remember, it's permanent. It can be your lands. How does everyone feel about their lands getting bounced back to their hand instead of them getting, like, blown up and destroyed? Is that, like, okay? I know how sensitive everyone is about their lands getting blown up. Don't touch my lands. No one plays enough lands in the... You know, if you played 40 lands in your deck, this wouldn't be a problem. Even though I think 40 lands might be overdoing it for a lot of decks. But maybe... Okay, so you don't mind bouncing the land? It's okay. It's okay to bounce. They banned Upheaval, unfortunately. Otherwise, I'd unleash it on you all. Okay, we got Balthazar with the super chat. TFW, as a child, you legit thought Leviathan and Polar Kraken were some of the best cards in the game, despite owning a couple of Moxes and unlimited load. True, that is very true. True story, Balthazar. There's a lot of people who thought those big baddies... I mean, same thing with the Shivan Dragon, right? Shivan Dragon and Sarah Angel, these cards are amazing. Look how big these creatures are over everything else. Little do they know, they could get tier 0... They could get turn 1 comboed with, like, Channel and Fireball to their death. Alright, with that big super chat, we are going to donate it to Sunshine the Cat. I only have lands in my deck. Oh, that wasn't a suggestion. But you know what? That is a beautiful, adorable, cute avatar. Huge fan of the avatar choice. Huge fan of the name. Merit Lage. Oh, actually, hold on. No, you did have a card. Hold on. Leviathan. Was that flying? No, it just has trample. You never know with those old cards. They could just randomly have flying for no reason. It is sort of flying, isn't it? Trample. No, it doesn't actually have flying. Okay, so we're still donating it. Or was there another piece? Was there another card mentioned in here? Levine and Polar. No, I don't think either of them flew. Mox Emerald is pretty much the same as Basic Forest. Yep. Sometimes it's better. So sorry. Sometimes Basic Forest is better. Doesn't get hit by Collector Roof. Hordrag with Emrakul? Which one? You aren't specific here, so... I think all the Emrakuls fly. Gareth Bane with Canopy Dragon. Canopy Dragon, 6 mana for a 4/4 dragon, flying. Well, pay a green, 1 generic. Flying? Sorry, it does not actually have flying. But it can gain flying and loses trample until end of turn. It does a switcheroo. Either way, I think this card is sad. I don't think it's that good. Why do I want to exchange flying for trample for 2 mana when I could just have... There's plenty of 5 mana flyers. Hell, Shivan Dragon doesn't have to pay... I don't have to pay mana to get my Shivan Dragon flying. Although this is in green. All right, you heard the music. It's time to thank our sponsor today, FusionGamingOnline.com. Deal of the week, save 25% off old board games. Don't forget. Also, I'm going to be at the Fusion Open, April 27th to 28th. 27th is Modern, 28th is Pioneer. I'm going to be ready for Pioneer with Pioneer Merfolk. Be prepared! I don't think anyone needs to be prepared for my Pioneer Merfolk, but I will be there. And also, don't forget, Outlaws of Thunder Junction, the spoilers are out. You know which cards you need for your deck. You want to get the old Jite It's not called old GT. It's like, there's a new GT! Trying to imply that it's old and rusted, but it's new to you. It's got new abilities, and you can pre-order those cards at FusionGamingOnline.com. And why don't you treat yourself using coupon code Nikachu at checkout to get 5% off all your purchases. It also supports me, by the way. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards online. For none other than the creme de la creme digital client Magic Online MTGO. To play all your favorite formats: Standard, Pioneer, Modern, Legacy, Vintage, Commander, One-on-One Commander, CEDH, Casual, EDH. Notice how I created so many different formats out of it. You can play Power 1 level Commander, Power 2. I can make a lot of formats out of Commander. So many different formats of Commander on Magic Online. And you can rent the cards and play any of those decks using coupon code Nikachu_FL0 for 10% off your first 2 months when you are renting cards with Mana Traders. Rent some dragons too while you're at it. Classic dragons. This card says Summon Dragon. What is EEDH? Never heard of it. Callan says Scion of Draco. Scion of Draco is a 12 mana monstrosity, a 4/4 with domain. Costs 2 less to cast for each basic land type among lands you control, which means turn 1 fetch Triome, turn 2 Shockland, and boom, the Scion of Draco is online. Flying, each creature you control has Vigilance if it's white, Hexproof if it's blue, Lifelink if it's black, First Strike if it's red, and Trample if it's green. Great for the multicolor decks. Great by itself, to be honest. It has seen a lot of play in Modern just for being a 2 mana 4/4 flyer. That's not bad. What's wrong with 2 mana 4/4 flyers around here? It's really cheating on the 6 mana thing, so this thing's completely busted. Steven Melstein, Silumgar, Drifting Death, Anti-red mana. All right, so you're gonna defeat those Shivan Dragon decks, huh? 6 mana for a 3/7 dragon with flying and hexproof. Oh, it's not just anti-red. I mean, it's just anti-removal, anti-anything. Whenever a dragon you control attacks, creatures defending player controls get -1/-1 until end of turn. This card's a banger as well. It's not even that expensive for the ability. It's a 6 mana, effectively indestructible as far as I'm concerned. I think there's less sweepers in the game, well, where I play Magic, there's less sweepers and more spot removal. Maybe where you play Magic, there's more sweepers than spot removal. And then next up, we've got Lord Trevor. What's happening, everyone? Long time no super chat. My card is Jockle Mortar. Is it Yokel? Maybe it's Yokel Mortar? It's from Cold Snap. It teaches you how not to sacrifice lands, whatever that's supposed to mean. Okay, it is a 7 mana trampling 12/12. Comes with battlefield tapped. It's not good. When it comes into play, sacrifice unless you sacrifice 5 lands. Jokel Mortar doesn't untap during your next untap step. What is this?
No,
This card just gets worse and worse the more I read it. And whenever you play an island, you may untap Jokel Mortar. Oh, thank God. So it doesn't untap. Does it just not untap? It doesn't. Yeah, it just doesn't untap during your untap step. And what part of this card am I getting a payoff here? Was it just put in there and as a joke? This is like a sort of modern day design card. Well, maybe not too modern. 2006. That's like 20 years ago. It must have been a callback to when cards were designed super terrible. Oh yeah, it's disqualified. It does not even fly. No flying. Get out of here. So it looks like, well, it doesn't even look like it's flying in the image. Thank you very much for the super chat. So we're going to donate this. Well, anyway, all that commentary. I was wasting my, oh man, you people, I should read chat more often. You're all on this. You're all on this like flies on shit. Okay, so next up, we'll take a look at, who doesn't got a card yet? Who got nothing? Okay, Mordrek is being more specific. Emrakul, the Ion's Torn. Yeah, these days there's like 12 Emrakuls, so we gotta be more specific here. We want the 15, 15, 15. Spell can't be countered. When you cast this spell, you get to take an extra turn after this one. That's a few more turns that I'd like my opponent to take. Flying protection from spells that are one or more colors. Annihilator 6, and whenever Emrakul, the Ion's Torrent, is put into a graveyard from anywhere, its owner shuffles their graveyard into their library. The card's an absolute banger. It's 10 out of 10 card. I like when people knew. Yeah, I mean, you could even go as far as to say it danger. It's played by, I mean, if you need to counter a mill deck, you just throw one of these in your decks. I know it's banned in Commander, and probably with good reason, because wiping out somebody's board, it's not the most enjoyable form of fun in Magic the Gathering. You know, I like to keep my board intact. It's that whole Annihilator thing, that didn't feel good, even during, like, the Rise of the Eldrazi pre-release. What's really funny is it wasn't unrealistic to cast this thing in the pre-release. I was there. Someone cast an Emrakul versus me, in addition to all the other. It's like every single time someone plays a land drop, you just feel they're inching closer to casting some abomination that'll wipe me off in one shot. Okay, next up, we'll go with Kano. No cards yet. Velamachos. Isn't this a combo card? 7 mana for a 5/5, Flying, Vigilance, and Haste. When it attacks, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You can cast an instant or sorcery card with mana value less than or equal to Velamachos' power from among them without paying its mana cost. So it is free. That is a very good price. And put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Don't be stacking your deck like this. Don't be stacking the cards on the bottom of your deck now. Yeah, so the idea is you just keep digging for cards that give you an extra turn. Sorry, not an extra turn. Well, I mean, it could give you an extra turn if you can find those, but either an extra turn or anything that gives you another attack step, and you can keep attacking over and over again until you can perhaps kill everybody. So it's got that going for it. Okay, Kagan, another $5 super chat. We've got Cavern Horde Dragon. Lets you benefit from your opponent's mana rocks. Cavern Horde. Hoarding all the money. Okay, we have a red 7 generic 6/6 dragon. The spell costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest number of artifacts an opponent controls. Flying Trample Haste. When it deals combat damage to a player, you create a treasure token for each artifact that player controls. What if they don't have any? So, like, that's a downside. If your opponents don't have any artifacts, and there are some people, there are freaks out there. They're just like, I'm not playing with Soul Ring, all right? It's boring. And then all of a sudden, you know, I know because I used, what is it, Thada Adel Adept or something like that. It's a merfolk that digs through your opponent's deck, and you get to steal one of their artifacts. I'm like, where's your Soul Ring? They're like, I don't have it. And I had to play some crappy Signet or something. This is a fun card in the Sauron. Where's that comment? I saw that. Oh yeah, here's Steve Cooper. This is a fun card in the Sauron Precon. Is this real? Is this supposed to be Smog? Why do they call it a Cavern Horde Dragon? Did they not get the rights to use the name Smog? I think it's Smog, right? Something to that effect. Anyway, I'm gonna say it's sometimes good, sometimes bad. Right? It can be free. It can be very, very cheap. Like if one of your opponents, are playing with a lot of treasures, this card's insane. It's just a 2 mana 6/6 Flying Trample Haste. If your opponent is not playing with crap, you're like, why aren't my opponents playing with powerful cards? This card is useless to me. Absolutely useless. There is a Smog card. It's called There and Back Again. Well, but what about the actual dragon? See, it doesn't even flip into it. Oh, no, it does. Oh, create Smog, a legendary 6/6. Ah, I see. Hidden within a saga. That's how they did it. Okay, next up. Some 1/2/4C with Seraph. Is there not a million Seraphs? Oh, no. I'm doing what? I got better. You get the type. If you name... Is there literally a card? Oh, there is one card. Okay, hold on. Stop. I thought, okay, there is literally a card named Seraph with just one word. My apologies. My greatest apologies, 1/2/4C. You're good. 7 mana, 4/4 flyer. It's an angel. Whenever a creature dealt damage by Seraph this turn is put into a graveyard, put that card into play under your control at end of turn. Sacrifice the creature when you lose control of Seraph. I think this is a little bit too gimmicky. Too hard to work. I guess it, well, so what? If a creature dealt damage by Seraph dies, this turn is put into a graveyard. I guess if you fight with Seraph, you get to steal their creatures. Someone 240 is like, I like the flute. Like the Titanic flute sound effect. Okay, next super chat coming from Kagan. Rhyme Feather Owl. It's cute. I'll give it that. 7 mana star bird flying. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of snow permanents in play. Snow and 1, put an ice counter on target permanent. Permanents with ice counters on them are now snow. Why can't we just say it? Well, I guess if you remove the counters, they're not snow anymore. I guess that's the deal. Something to that effect. Power and toughness are each equal to the number of snow. This card's terrible. Like, you have to build your whole deck around snow, and even at the end of the day, it's just a is it called Mordrek? Is that what we call it? Mordrek? Or is it Mordek? Whatever, that affinity card. It's an affinity card, basically. It's the same, and it doesn't even have a discount. At least that affinity card had affinity for artifacts. This thing has affinity for nothing. Okay, Jonathan V with Hellkite Tyrant. This is a 6 mana, 6/5 flying dragon with trample. Deals combat damage to a player. Gain control of all artifacts that player controls. Okay, I'm listening. Tell me more about stealing all my opponent's stuff. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 20 or more artifacts, I win the game! I am the artifact hoarder. It's like if you become a billionaire, you win the game. At that moment. Okay, next up, let's take a look at, this is a super, no, this was not a super chat. We'll look at Zarthar! Dragonlord Silumgar. Ooh, a very slithery guy. We got, for 6 mana, 3/5 Elder Dragon with Death Touch. Enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature or planeswalker as long as you control Dragonlord Silumgar. So it's like, it's basically, what is that fairy called? Fairy... This is not very specific. It's a 4 mana fairy, enters the battlefield, you steal somebody's, you swipe summon stuff. I guess it doesn't even have the name fairy in the name. Or they changed the art. I don't know what it's called. Does anyone know what I'm talking? Sower of Temptation, that's what it is. It is the dragon version of Sower of Temptation. Now, from my experience, it is very hard to keep the creature on the board. Once you swipe someone's creature, then all of a sudden the rest of the table, or at least the player that you stole their creature from, they will move mountains to get their creature back. So I guess the key is to steal something pathetic that's not even worth giving back or stealing back. Something like, take their Birds of Paradise. It's like, what are they gonna do? Nothing! And someone else's big creature is still on the board, so they'll be the target anyway. So I guess there is like some game to, you know, there's some strategy. How big of a creature do you want to steal? Because it just dies to anything. Like it's just a fleshy dragon. I'll say it passes though. Stealing stuff is quite good. And if you guys are exhausted on resources, then it actually is just a good card. The Abyssal with the Vampiric Dragon. Is it like a Vampiric Tutor? 8 mana for a 5/5 flying Vampire Dragon. Whenever a creature dealt damage by Vampiric Dragon dies this turn, put a counter on your Vampiric Dragon. Also 2 mana, deals 1 damage to target creature. Oh, okay, it's, honestly, I don't think I would play this card. Like, what is it? It's just Olivia Voldaren, but more expensive. It's basically what it is. Oh, we have another one. We have another super chat from Kagan. I gotta get through all them super chats. Spotter Thopter. Sparthopter is an 8-mana 4/5 flyer. When enters the battlefield, scry X, where X is its power. Not particularly thrilled about that ability. But it does have prototype. You can cast this for 4 mana for a 2/3. Okay, honestly, I think this card is just absolutely terrible. I would say no. I would never play this card. Almond says, I haven't gotten one since I joined. A Chroma. Angel of Wrath. I think a lot of... Who else mentioned this card? Maybe it's just you. I keep forgetting. I gotta, like, put a filter on so you guys can only mention something, like, once every 30 seconds. Some of you are just, like, you're just pumping out those comments like crazy. You gotta slow down. Okay, anyway, this is an 8-mana 6/6 Angel, flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, protection from black, and protection from red. Honestly, I'm not really thrilled about the card. You know, you're basically spending 8 mana for a gigantic 6/6 creature that doesn't even have lifelink, as far as I'm concerned. So, I'm not in love. You know, I know Angel players just don't have a whole lot to work with, but I'm not in love with this card, especially since in Commander, where you would want to dominantly play this card, doesn't have protection from sweepers. I'd put a little bit more of a premium on, say, there's one of them that has Indestructible. If it had some ETB or some other value attached to it, then great. Otherwise, it's basically just a 6/6 flyer in the air. Like, if you don't block it at all, you just have 8 mana for a 6/6. It's effectively what this is. Next, we have Steve Cooper's Avacyn Angel of Hope. Also a donation to chat. Thank you so much, Steve Cooper. Also one of the greatest donators of Magic the Gathering. We have for 8 mana, an 8/8, flying, vigilance, indestructible. That's what I was talking about. Another permanent you control of indestructible. So I think at this mana, this is more worth it than the last one. Because not only is an 8/8, it has protection from, I mean, it may not have protection from red or black, but let's be serious, it basically has protection from red or black, because they would just destroy this creature anyway. They barely have any exiling effects. So, pro-red, pro-black is effectively the same as having indestructible. And it makes all your other permanents indestructible. So go ahead, Armageddon all you want. Okay, it looks like Toads and Marcio want to get Steel Hellkite on there. Steel Hellkite, 6 mana, 5/5. This is a dragon. It is a blue eyes white dragon. 2 mana, Steel Hellkite gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Also pay X to destroy each non-land permanent with mana value X whose controller was dealt combat damage by Steel Hellkite this turn. Activate only once each turn. Banger card, actually. It's not too expensive, and it's a sweeper attached to a creature, and you can sweep over and over and over again. Like, if you don't kill this thing, I mean, it kills you. Cole is a huge fan of the Steel Hellkite. Not to mention it's colorless, so almost any deck can play this if they really want to. Steel is a classic. Why does nobody play this card anymore? Well, you can. By all means, play it. I mean, there's probably some political problems with this card. You play it, and then everyone is like, is this gonna blow up all my stuff? If that is the case, all right, get him! Go get him! Send all attackers at the Steel Hellkite player. They're gonna get blown up anyway. You know, you put your opponents in a position where there's nothing to lose. Like, what do they have to lose? They're creatures that are gonna die next turn? All non-land permanents. Whose controller was dealt, well, I mean, maybe not anyone knows who's gonna get attacked, but it's because everyone's gonna feel like they could be a potential target. Okay, next up, let's take a look. Pay 0, kill tokens, that works as well. That does work as well. Jess with the Hellkite Overlord. We got, it's a Jund 8 mana 8/8 flying trample haste dragon with fire breathing, and you can regenerate it. Honestly, this is pretty vanilla for a lot of the cards that we have here. Now, it is one of the better beat sticks because A, you can regenerate this, and B, it's gonna be hard to block, and you could theoretically dome someone for 16 damage in one turn. Because if you spend 8 mana to get this thing out, you might also have the 8 mana in red to pump it up. And it does have flying and trample, so very, very hard to absorb that damage. And even if you did, you can still regenerate the Overlord. But still, I'm not in love with just creatures that are strictly just beat sticks. There is a time and place for that, but not every place. Elfiner didn't get a card yet. Sphinx of Steel... of the Steel Wind. Sphinx of the Steel Wind. And we'll go with the Sphinx. An 8 mana 6/6, flying first strike, vigilance, lifelink, protection from red and from green. I don't know how well this card plays in EDH, but I know it's like a vintage staple. It's like one of the better cards you can like tinker into play, because apparently when it's like it's a decent clock, and it gives you, it has flying, vigilance, and lifelink, so you can attack and defend at the same time. Being pro red and green also makes it difficult for your opponents to remove this with like artifact removal. Because, like, okay, all of it isn't basically red and green. I mean, sure, there's some stuff in white, but it at least protects you from 2/3 of those effects. So it is a very good card. Okay, next up, we got Lord Trevor. Donate that last one. Ramos is my card. Huh? How do I donate? Ramos? Is there a dragon called Ramos? Oh, this is the dragon. Yeah, there's a flyer. It's a 4/4 creature. When you cast a spell, put a counter on Ramos for each of that spell's colors. You have a 3-color spell, 3 counters. Remove 5 +1/+1 counters from Ramos. Add double Booberg to your mana pool. Activate this ability only once each turn. Yeah, this is... Oh, didn't we like have this on another show? This card's a banger. Did we do the super? I don't think we did the donation from Steve Cooper's. I don't know if we did Steve Cooper's donation. Arcanus Ultra. Do we not? Did someone have like the same avatar as you, Arcanus? I swear. I gave you a card. Archetype of Imagination. 6 mana 3/2. Creatures you control have flying. Creatures your opponents control lose flying and can't gain or have flying. Not a fan. It's just it's literally just a 3/2 flyer. I mean, I guess, okay, maybe I'm being a little harsh here. It gives other decks that don't have flyers the ability to have evasion, so maybe it's a little bit better in that regard. Is this staple in any way? I'm not thrilled about this. How fast did Emrakul or Grizzlebrand get said? Not fast! Slow, actually, but we did get through both of them. We did Grizzlebrand, Tom. You're just late to the show, that's all. Okay, we'll go with Erlich. A pre-modern staple with Eternal Dragon. Really? 7 mana 5/5 flyer. When return Eternal Dragon from your graveyard to your hand. Activate only during your upkeep. And it's got plane cycling. Wow, that is a very, very, very old mechanic. So you get to effectively get planes over and over and over again. So if you have enough mana, you can keep just digging your deck out of all their planes. Although I'm sure at some point you're going to just want to play a 5/5 flyer. It's not bad itself. Honestly, I don't like it. If it is a pre-modern staple, then good for them. Good for them. John, Utvara Hellkite. We have not done that one yet at all. There's a lot of Hellkites. A lot of cards going to hell. 8 mana for a 6/6 flyer. Whenever a dragon you control attacks, create a 6/6 red dragon creature token with flying. Oh, so it's like an ETB. If you set up a bunch of dragons, then you'll just set up like a bunch of gigantic chunky tokens. All right, I can get behind this easily. A little expensive, you know, it's really close. I think this card's pretty clunky for what it does, but whatever. Next up, we've got Tracer, Incinerator of the Guilty. The Incinerator of the Guilty. It's a 6 mana 6/6 flying trampling dragon. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may collect evidence X. When you do, Incinerator of the Guilty deals X damage to each creature and each planeswalker that player controls. How is it to collect evidence X? Exile cards of total mana value X or greater from your graveyard. Yeah, that card's great. It's basically a red. It's very close to a red version of that Steel Hellkite. Very, very close. Very, very close. Balthazar. We've got Lord of the Pit. Thank you very much for your super chat, Balthazar. This is a 7-mana 7/7 abomination. Do you feel lucky? Do you feel lucky with all those 7s? Flying Trample at the beginning of your upkeep. Sacrifice a creature other than Lord of the Pit. If you can't, Lord of the Pit will deal 7 damage to you. Don't like it. Honestly, that's 7 mana for just a flying trampling creature that shoots you. What are you playing, like what is it called? Shadow of Mortality? Death Shadow? Are you trying to do your opponents a favor by sacking your creatures and dealing damage to you? Yeah, not a fan of Lord of the Pit. I'm sure it was like, yeah, it's not particularly expensive. Was that an old card? 30th anniversary? Oh, it must be one of the OGs. Is it an OG? Oh, it is! It's from the dark days of Alpha. It is one of the... Oh, wow. How is this not as iconic as Shivan Dragon or Sarah Angel? Don't get it. Freaking, because, like, I didn't get a card today. Abyssal Horror, but my disqualified was picked out, like... Okay, sure. Abyssal Horror. I love how you guys are begging. Mr. Nikachu, I haven't got a card yet. But we did, okay, we did a Chroma Angel of Fury, though. We did a Chroma already, so you gotta choose another one. Okay, we got a 6 mana 2/2. You know, you're politely asking. Everyone's politely asking. Please, Mr. Nikachu, I would like some too. When Abyssal Horror comes into play, target opponent discards 2 cards from their hand. This is sad. This card's awful. Okay, we got Gareth Bane with Shauku Endbringer. Isn't this also a terrible card? 7 mana for a 5/5. It can't attack unless there is another creature in play. That's not too hard. During your upkeep, lose 3 life. Tap, remove target creature from the game, and put a +1/+1 on Shauku. Oh no, that's good! Alright, so we got an exiling effect in black. That is a pretty good beater. You lose some life, but like, whatever. Sacrifices must be made. We did Angel of Wrath, not Fury. Oh, okay, then we'll do the Fury one. Oh, let's go back. Where was... Chows! Your card is good. A Chroma Angel of Fury. We did this one. Like, very, very early. We did this one. It was good, though. To be honest, it was like very early in the show. Yeah, we did Angel of Wrath and Fury. Arcanus has been here since the beginning. Ellen Baird with was it a Luna? Apex of Wishes? I prefer it as King Ghidorah. I don't know what the hell is going on here. 5 mana. Well, 5 mana already disqualified. It's gotta be 6 mana or higher. Unless you somehow have the original title. Okay, next up, let's take a look at... Tobias says, Draco costs 20 mana. No, it does not. It costs 16. Sorry, Draco. The Draco! We got a 16 mana, 9/9 dragon. Costs 2 less for each basic land type among lands you control. So even if you pay 5, it still costs 6 mana, which is beyond stupid. At the beginning of your upkeep, you also have to sack unless you pay that 10 mana, reduced by 2 for each basic land type amongst lands you control. This card is absolutely pathetic. Sorry, Draco. You were supposed to be the big baddie of the set, and you became instantly worthless. No one believed you in the first place. Its Scion is so much better. Oh, yeah. I mean, they pushed that card. They made sure it saw play. They gave the new Draco some justice. Okay, Starfire Dragon says, I'm lobbying for the Balefire Dragon. A lot of dragons out there. Bellflower Dragon. Looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Dragon, in my opinion. 7 mana for a 6/6 flying dragon. Deals combat damage to a player. It deals that much damage to each creature that player controls. Ouch! That's got a hoit! Basically blast away the whole board. Rafau, Artemis, All-Seeing. I'm sorry, Atomus, All-Seeing. Oh, it's Atoms. Oh, it was Atomsis. Oh, and Minkoa says, Draco is great for whatever that giant green thing was before. What do you mean, Kavu Titan? Okay, we have a 6 mana, 4/5 Sphinx with flying. Pay 3 mana, tap, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Not bad. Not that great for a 6 mana. I wouldn't say that's the greatest looting card of all time. Whenever Adamus, All-Seeing, deals damage to an opponent, you may reveal your hand. If cards with at least 6 different converted mana costs are revealed this way, that player loses the game. Holy crap! So it's like, okay, I attack, I deal damage to you. I've got Uno. Okay, I have never played Uno, so I don't know what that looks like. What is a game where you reveal your hand and you basically have won? I don't know. It's like at some point you like get the battle royale type hand and it's over. But whatever, it plays like that. Hey, you're not wrong. Exodia. I guess Exodia works. You have those 5 cards. No, poker doesn't work like that. Poker doesn't work like... I mean, if you have a royal flush... You would not... If you had the nuts, you would not want to reveal it the moment you got it. You have to pretend that you don't have the nuts, Tyler Smith. That is not how you're supposed to play poker. While it is not against the rules... Actually, it might even be against the rules to reveal your hand in some cases. Yeah, it would be a bad idea. Anyway, so is this good? I don't know. It's interesting. Reston Serpentine wants to get Nightmare. All right, this will be the last freebie one for now. Nightmare. The Nightmare. 6 mana for a Star Flyer. Its power and toughness equal to your swamps. I think it's crap. I hope you enjoyed your free card. All right, King Ginger with Triplicant Titan. Oh, we did that super chat. Let's do that one. The Triplicant Titan. Triplicate Titan? Oh, it was Triplicate Titan. Okay, 9 mana, 9/9. Vigilance Trample. When it dies, create a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token with flying, a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token with vigilance, and a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token with trample. Oh, it's basically... It's Wormcoil Engine. And it is vigilance and trample. Well, flying. I think that's great on attack, great on defense. Not bad. Next up, we've got Millmaster. Thank you so much for your super chat. Hey, Nikachu, Eater of Days. In general, we all know that this card is terrible. When it comes into play, you skip your next 2 turns. So somehow you have to, like, give this to somebody else. So it wouldn't even be that good in Commander. It basically says your target opponent loses 2 turns. Comes into play, you skip your next 2 turns. That's it, yeah, target opponent, because everyone else would just get 2 extra turns. Target opponent loses 2 turns. It's a lot of work to get this in play under someone else's control. Boomtown Bully target. The Boomtown Bullies are used with Torpor Orb. Even if you have Torpor Orb out, like, what is this? It's just like a 4 mana 9/8 trampling flyer. Was it worth it? Was it worth it? I don't think it was worth it. I don't think it was worth it. Spectral Maniac. Thank you very much for your super chat. The Ur-Dragon. The biggest and the baddest. Okay, yeah, so apparently this is a Commander staple. Does it just combo off? Or is it the other one that you guys... I know... Okay, I guess you're just talking about the Ur-Dragon. I know the other one is a huge staple. This is a 9 mana 10/10 with Eminence. As long as it's in the command zone or on the battlefield, other dragon spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Oh, God! Where's my oh, God sound effect?
No! God, please, no!
I hate Eminence. Eminence! It's in my dreams. Especially that Markov card. Ugh. Creating vampires for nothing. It basically says your cards cost 1 less to cast before they even start the game. So whenever one or more dragons you control attack, draw that many cards. Are you kidding me? Then you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. This card's insane. This card's absolutely busted. See you later, Ginkgo. Hopefully we see you later. Scion of the Ur Dragon as combos regular Ur Dragon is just huge and good. It's just value. It's the Costco of the dragons. It's value. You get more value for a lesser cost over all your dragons. All right. So as long as you spend more mana on more dragons, you can see the value. This is the Kirkland avatar. This is the Kirkland dragon. The Kirkland special over here. And if you use the Costco membership gift card or membership like MasterCard or whatever they have, then you get even more value off of this. Okay, next up we have Hoarding Broodlord from Josh Karen. Hoarding Broodlord is an 8 mana 7/6. Oh, but it's got Convoke, so actually it's got that benefit going for it. But what does it do? When it enters the battlefield, search your library for a card, exile it face down, then shuffle. For as long as that card remains exiled, you can play it. That card's insane. This is great. Spells you cast from exile have Convoke as well. This card's a banger. Absolute banger card. Eater costs 4, not 6. Well, still, it's does that change my evaluation on Eater of Days? No, it's still trash card. Since Eater of Days is disqualified. Oh, did it not fly? It was flying. It wasn't disqualified. It qualified. It just got like it just gets the Titanic music, that's all. It just gets the Titanic music. What part? Oh, it costs 4 mana though. It's a big oh, that's right. It's disqualified for cost. That's right. Okay, so it does get disqualified. All right, so we donate. Okay, we're gonna donate that one. Did anyone catch that one? Oh, Arcanus wanted to steal it. You know what? We got to give it to somebody else. I think there's somebody who hasn't got a card yet. Our fellow South Korean over here. Or I can't tell if it's South Korean. It could be North Korean. Is one of the North Koreans on the internet somehow up there. Exalted Dragon. Sorry, Exalted Angel. We've seen so many dragons. It was actually good. Okay, I'll believe you. 6 mana for a 4/5 flyer. When Exalted Angel deals damage, you gain that much life. I don't believe you anymore. I don't believe you at all. People are mentioning a lot of. We looked at Consecrated Sphinx, Jess. We looked at Consecrated Sphinx. Okay, we're gonna keep moving on. Okay, again, second to last, the Hexavus. Six mana for a 0/0 construct flying. Hexavus enters the battlefield with 6 +1/+1 counters on it. Pay 1, remove a +1/+1 counter from Hexavus. Put a flying counter on another target creature. Pay 1, remove a counter from another target creature. Put a +1/+1 counter on Hexavus. Are there combos you can do with this? Comes with the counters. We remove a counter. Remove a +1/+1 counter. Put a flying counter on something. Remove a counter from another creature you control. So I can make infinite counters, can I? Because I remove a +1/+1 counter to put a flying counter on something else, and I remove a counter. I can remove that flying counter to put a +1/+1 counter on Hexavus. So weirdly, I think this card sucks in a way, but it does have combo potential. Like, you just need one, like, hardened scales, right? Am I missing something here? Like, or doubling doubling season probably works. So you just remove. Oh no, but you need the mana. You have to pay 1 for it. Okay. But you need to sync. You need infinite mana to make it work. If you don't have infinite mana, it doesn't do anything. Yeah, only if you have infinite mana. Yeah, anything's infinite when you can do infinite anything if you have infinite money. You know, if we have infinite resources, you can do anything you want. Unfortunately, we cannot. This old artwork is amazing. Is there a new artwork? I don't think there's any new cards. There's no new artwork. The old artwork is the same artwork. Okay, next up. We take a look at another one. Another Kagan. Okay, the last one for today, says Kagan. Ethereal Valkyrie. This is 6 mana 4/4 Flying Spirit Angel. Now, when enters the battlefield or attacks, draw a card. Then exile a card from your hand face down. It becomes foretold. Its foretold cost is its mana cost reduced by 2. So it's like plot. This is literally the earlier version of plotting cards that they released in Thunder Junction. It's effectively the same thing. You foretell a card down, and then you can basically play. Here you get to play it for its reduced cost. So whenever you enters the battlefield or attacks, draw a card. So you get value no matter what. I like this card. ETB value. You know, that's the last one of Kagan's super chats. We're going through all the super chats. Don't worry. We're gonna move on with Balthazar's. Balthazar wants Chimnium. If I remember correctly, Chimnium sucks. 5 mana for a 1/2. Yeah, that's not very impressive. When it's put into a graveyard from play, target opponent puts a card from their hand on top of their library. Oh yeah, that's not going in any of my decks. All right, Josh Karen. Love this commander, Ziatora. The Incinerator. This is a 6 mana 6/6 flyer. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, Ziatora, the Incinerator, deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target, and you create 3 treasure tokens. I guess in some world. Oh, is that last one disqualified? I'm not even catching these things. Okay, we'll donate that one. Let's go back. Let's give it the buzzer. Let's get back to Ziatora. I don't like this type of card, but I imagine that if you build your deck around it, it can work. So, I mean, you're sacking a creature, but you're going to shoot someone else's creature down, so, like, it's basically fair. And you net, in the end, you get, like, 3 treasure tokens. You are the beneficiary of 3 treasure tokens over your opponents, which is good. Hopefully you cast more creatures to sacrifice them. Alright, so now we're gonna donate. Who wants a donation? Most top flavor. Bobby the Flying Dragon. Bob the Flying Dragon? Something the Flying Dragon? Okay, I don't know what this card is. So you get nothing. Nuclear Yoshi. What is it, radioactive? Bringer of the Last Gift. Bringer of the Last Gift is an 8 mana 6/6 vampire demon with flying. When Bringer of the Last Gift enters the battlefield, if you cast it, each player sacrifices all other creatures they control. Then each player returns all creature cards from their graveyard that weren't put there this way to the battlefield. So enters the battlefield, if you cast it, each player sacrifices all their creatures they control. So if you play it fairly, you didn't cheat in play. Everyone, you just wipe the board. Oh, wait a minute. It's like Living End. Yeah, it's powerful. That is a powerful vampire demon. Yeah, not even a bringer shakes my head. Wait, yeah, it's false advertising here. You call yourself a bringer? This is a... Platonic Liquid would have probably some take against this card. Okay, Jess, let's take a look at Clouth Unrivaled Ancient. Whatever that is. It's a 7 mana 4/4 with haste and flying. Ancient attack. Whenever Clouth attacks, add X mana in any combination of colors where X is the total power of attacking creatures. Spend this mana only to cast spells. And until end of turn, you don't lose mana as steps and phases end. I think this is a banger card. You do get a huge benefit. So basically, this card pays for itself. You're probably going to be attacking with quite a few creatures. In addition to that, yeah, you can just empty your hand. So you get enough. You have 7 mana, and then all of a sudden, you're going to have 10 mana after your attack. And it's only when you attack, right? where X is the total power of attacking creatures. You don't even have to deal damage. You just go charge. All right. All right, everyone get ready. There's only in 3 steps. We are just going to attack and get a bunch of mana. It's a better Vent Maw? I wouldn't know. Okay, King Ginger, what's up? You've got Unesh, Creo Sphinx Sovereign. Unesh. This is a 6 mana 4/4 flyer. Sphinx spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. Do we really need the Sphinx spells to be... Are we playing Sphinx Kindred around here? Whenever Sovereign or another Sphinx enters the battlefield under your control, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. An opponent separates those cards into 2 piles, put one of them into your hand and the other into your graveyard. This card just seems like jank. Oh, but another Sphinx enters the battlefield under your control. Okay, so it's a 6 mana Factor Fiction. Yeah, they separate those cards into 2 piles, put 1 pile into your hand. Okay, I like it. It's basically 6 mana for a 4/4 flyer that when it enters the battlefield, it's like a pseudo draw at least 2 cards. You could end up drawing more than that. Very interesting card. Would be good to if there were any Sphinx cards. Well, we got Consecrated Sphinx. How many Sphinxes are there? 52 Sphinxes! At least 52 Sphinxes that are named Sphinx. Go make a deck out of it. There are enough Sphinxes in the game that you can make a commander deck out of it, okay? Starting with Unesh. Unesh can be your commander. Okay, we got C24 MVP with the Bloodthirster. Bloodthirster is a 6 mana 6/6 demon with trample. When it deals combat damage to a player, untap it. After this combat phase, there's an additional combat phase. Bloodthirster can't attack a player it has already attacked this turn. You gonna get 3 extra attacks? Or I guess 2 extra attacks? I mean, if all you have to do is smack one person and then you get to smack another person, you get to smack another person. So 1-on-1, not a particularly good card. This card's insane. Absolutely insane. All it needs is haste. My buddy has a Unesh deck and it's insanely powerful. I will trust you on that. I have to see it to believe it, but I will trust you for now. Elixir with Ezek's Fractal Bloom. Or no, we can do Ezek's. This is a 6 mana 4/4. The first time you would create 1 or more tokens during each of your turns, you may instead choose a creature other than Ezek's Fractal Bloom and create that many tokens that are copies of that creature. So you get to make extra copies of a particular creature, and this can be your commander. Banger card. Okay, Steve Cooper. Oh, and you're gonna donate. Oh, look at it. This deep into the show, we're gonna get a donation. You hear that, chat? It's not over for you all yet. But we're going to look at first Kalia of the Vast. Steve Cooper's suggestion. 4 mana for a 2/2 flyer. Whenever Kalia of the Vast attacks an opponent, you may put an angel, demon, or dragon creature card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking that opponent. But it has to attack, right? So let me get this straight. This is a 4 mana 2/2. This isn't even stronger than like a winged drake. Or Wind Drake, I think it was called. Whenever it attacks an opponent, you may put an angel, demon, or dragon card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking that opponent. Honestly, not in love with this type of card. Like, you absolutely... Oh, it's also... Yeah, it's not even... Wow, so many disqualifications. I also don't even see that. Why don't I even notice? You know, I put the rules out there. When it's 5 mana, I'm like, disqualified. When it's 4 mana, I'm like, yeah, that's okay. For no reason. Yeah, it's 2 donations now. We're gonna donate 2 cards here. Steve Cooper being more generous than more generous than they thought. Okay, what do we got here? Okay, so who? I don't think Dinglebag got one. Drog Skull Reaver. Drog Skull Reaver. Drog Skull. Okay, this is a 7 mana 3/5 spirit, flying double strike lifelink. Whenever you gain life, draw a card. I like it. You gain a few life points. You get a little cash. Celtic Guardian. Good afternoon. How are you? Steel Hellkite worth it? It is, but we did that one already. Okay, who else does not got squat here? I don't know. I don't think Deftonable got one. Necropolis Regent. I'm starting to think I gotta start going through super chats in the 4th quarter of the show. Okay, we have a 6 mana, 6/5 flying vampire. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put that many +1/+1 counters on it. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player. It can get, like, sort of out of line really quickly. So, I mean, you just have to put this in play, attack with the creatures that you have, and they just get bigger. I think for a vampire deck, probably worth it. In a non-vampire deck, probably not worth it. Play your vampire decks, people. King Ginger, favorite dragon with Ishin is the Drakuseth Maw of Flames. A very fiery dragon, a lot of fire. 7 mana, 7/7. When it attacks, it deals 4 damage to any target and 3 damage to each of up to 2 other targets. That's a lot of damage. So 4 damage here, 3 damage over there. I like it. It's not too... Honestly, it could be better. It's just passable. Josh Karen, the OG troll, flash out the Platinum Angel. 7 mana, 4/4, flying. You can't lose the game and your opponents can't win the game. Okay, how do I judge this card? First off, it's definitely overrated. It's not like this thing's indestructible. It dies to a damn breeze. Like, any removal spell kills this thing. I know in one-on-one Magic, people love playing this card, and it fails miserably like every single time. No, I'm not gonna say I never lost a Platinum Angel before, but I have rarely lost a Platinum Angel before. Almost never. So I don't know how this is gonna work in Commander. But still, yeah, dies to Flame Slash. So and also not to mention, this is an artifact, so loses to artifact destruction as well. It loses to pick your poison in multiple ways, makes you sack your artifacts, or makes you sack your flying creatures. Platinum Angel dies to smelt. Yeah, we could have a show, everything that kills Platinum Angel, just to prove how weak it is. Honestly, I don't think this card's very good. I know it's one of the more... The effect is powerful. You can't lose the game, your opponents can't win the game. But in practice, it just dies and your opponents just win the game anyway. Like, I don't know, has anyone locked their opponents out with Platinum Angel? Maybe with this angel and the angel that gives other things indestructible. It's probably the best, probably your best bet, but usually this is not that great. Oh, it's great in your Duretti deck because you keep regurgitating it back from the graveyard. Okay, fair point. Oh, it's notorious in, like, in competitive Magic as well. People have tried. There's, like, a big rush. Like, I'm gonna get the Platinum Angel out, and I'm gonna win the game. So that's the expectations. But usually, when they play, they just end up, like, screwing themselves over. Like, oh, this card, Platinum, combo off into Platinum Angel. Okay, terminate. I was like, oh, wow, I didn't see that coming at all. How did that happen? Platinum Angel can tie to removal spells? That's such a thing? I've used Platinum Angel to not deck myself usually. That's a weird way of protecting yourself. Okay, we'll move on. King Ginger's Haunt of the High Tower. This is a 6 mana 3/3 vampire flying lifelink. When it attacks, defending player discards a card. Whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, put a +1/+1 counter on the Haunt of the High Tower. Honestly, very underwhelming card. Probably lifelink is the best ability on this card, but make your opponent discard a card. Very weak. Also, in addition to that, you only just get one +1/+1 counter on this thing anyway, so I wouldn't say it is particularly the most insane card. Okay, we're gonna move on to Minkoa Lee's. Have we done a? We have not done a Traxa. Weirdly enough. We are 1 hour 24 minutes into the show, and this is the first time we're mentioning a Traxa. I don't know what to say. This card is danger. Grand Atraxa, you danger. 7 mana for a 7/7. Flying, Vigilance, Lifelink, Death Touch, and also when it enters the battlefield, you look at the top 10 cards of your library, and for each card type, you know, put that card of that type into your hand. That's an ETB, so if you blink this thing, you get even more value. Usually, it just enters the battlefield, and that's good enough, and it can take over the game. Insane card. And it's like, it's basically taking over every format, right? Like, this is like Commander, it's a Commander staple, it's a Vintage staple, it's a Legacy staple, it's a Modern staple. I don't know if it's a Standard or Pioneer staple yet. I don't know if it's there. Would you like some card advantage? Here you go! And blink it with other colors too! What do you know? You're in blue and white. 2 colors that can blink cards. Yeah, this is pretty disgusting card. Balthazar, Rith the Awakener, a classic. I was there when this card was printed. Let's go look at the invasion card. It's a dragon. 6 mana for a 6/6 flying. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may pay a green and 2 generic. If you do, choose a color. Put a 1/1 green sapling creature token into play for each permanent of that color. Oh, of each one. Okay, so you could choose. Oh, if you choose green, you need a whole bunch of green cards in play to get the benefit out of it. Not a fan, to be honest. Pretty sad. You have to sink more mana into this thing. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Like, if you build your deck around tokens, this just makes the tokens scale out of control. So, okay, maybe I should give it a plus. If you build around this card, it's probably a lot better. Uber Tuna asks, is Traxa the best ETB on a creature? Tough question. It might be. It might be. I'm thinking of, like, when I think of a lot of other creatures, usually their abilities are on cast or activated ability. All right, we got Arcanus Ultra with the Astral Dragon. This is going to be an 8 mana 4/4 dragon flying project image. When Astral Dragon enters the battlefield, create 2 tokens that are copies of target non-creature permanent, except they're 3/3 dragons, in addition to other types, and they have flying. So it's 8 mana for 10 power, and you can steal their abilities, because they're going to be copies of the other creatures. I think that's great. I think that's great. This is my first super chat. I'd like to use it to copy Mana Reflection. Oh, God. We got the demon tier list. When's the angel tier list coming? There is an angel tier list. Just look it up. I got a lot of criticisms for that angel tier list because I was putting, like, all these super expensive angels into, like, the B and C tier. It's like, you don't know anything about angels. I'm like, I'm sorry. Your clunky angels are not really that. They're good for... They're, like, the best abilities on angels, but for that mana cost, like, I don't know. I'm not going to play that thing. Okay, certify ourselves. Oh, what do you got? Gazella. Blade of Gold Knight. You claim it dangers. Okay, not the Broken Blade. You want this one. 7 mana for a 5/5 with first strike. If a source would deal damage to an opponent or permanent an opponent controls, that source deals double the damage to that permanent or player instead. And then if a source would deal damage to you or a permanent you control, prevent half that damage rounded up. That is a banger card. It attack, it also protect. But most importantly, I can't think of anything that would rhyme with this. Balthazar with Venemacho's Leo Hold. We did that one. So here's the deal, Balthazar. We're gonna donate it. Ubertuna is like, this card is terrifying. Yeah, I guess it is. If this is indestructible to have hexproof, you are all screwed. Why didn't it show my first super chat thing? Maybe on my client, it doesn't say that it, I use something called StreamYard, and it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that you guys see on YouTube, so there might be some functionality that it's missing. But thanks for letting us know. It was your first super chat. Okay, all of you in the freebie section, waiting for one card. Who did not get a card? Maybe I'm gonna close my eyes. I'm gonna close my eyes and see what we get here. And we get breaks your brain if you do doubling seas. That's not a card. How about this one? Devouring Strosis by KP256. It is an 8-mana 9/9, flying with trample. At the beginning of your upkeep, you must sack a creature. Sacrifice. Oh, no, I think we did this one. We either did this one or we did something incredibly similar, so we'll do another one. Okay, I'm going to close my eyes again. This is going to be totally fair. Oh, did I not click anything? What's going on here? Click something. What about Kamigawa Dragons? Look at that, Toads. You got the last one. Kurgan. Kurgan? Kurgadon? It's not a dragon. Kurgan? Damn it, Toads! You didn't even give me a card spelled right. I don't even know what that is. Alright, going back. Man, who's gonna get this last super chat? Have we not done Iona Shield of Emeria? I don't think we did. Iona Shield of Emeria. Damn it, wish it was someone else. Well, it is someone else. Okay, we got a 9-mana 7/7 Angel. Enters the battlefield. Choose a color. Your opponents can't cast spells of the chosen color, which means all of those colors are banned. Banned from the game. No more shall the righteous cover before the evil. The card is completely broken. I wouldn't say complete. It's a strong card. It's very strong. There's nothing says prison or stacks like just naming a color and saying no to all of it at once. And with was it a super chat? Oh no, it was your typos. Oh, it was my typos. I'd feel bad about it. If it's your typos, I don't feel bad about it at all. I just eat the super chats and give it to somebody else. Your loss is someone else's gain. All right, and that's it for Coffee and MTG today. Now, we usually do this at 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Remember that we now have a new time, 3 p.m. starting next week. So for the rest of this week, we are at our usual schedule. Next week, starting at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. I would like to try this new schedule out. That is when we're going to do Coffee and MTG, starting next week, next Monday. And what's funny is I'm going to have to go to the NRG series, not next week, but was it next? I think I have to go to the NRG series next week, and I have a flight in the evening. So we might actually still do an early stream, or an earlier stream on the Friday next week. But whatever, the new schedule is at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. I think you should stream at 8 p.m. instead of 3 p.m. It's a little difficult for me to guarantee that every single day, because if I have to go, you know what? Honestly, I'd prefer that, because it's like at the very end of the day. But unfortunately, that's just not something I can guarantee, because I might have to go to a local game store. I might have to go see my friends one day. I might have to go see a movie. So it's really hard to guarantee at 8 p.m. every day. Although it would be much more benefit. I'd have to kill off some days of the week or something to that effect. Oh, Balthazar says we're not done yet. My bad. I originally read the title of the stream as most overcosted flyers. It basically is. Okay, we'll donate one of those. Come on. Okay, you guys want more cards? Oh, it's $10. 2 cards. We're not done yet. A lot of people are gone already. Okay, Christopher B is always good for... Look, mentioning cards even when the show is over. Rakdos the Muscle. Is that real? It sounds like a cartoonish card. It is literally Rakdos the Muscle. Oh, it's from the new set. Whenever you sacrifice a creature, exile cards equal to its mana value from the top of your library. From the top of target player's library until your next end step. You may play those cards, and mana of that type can be spent to cast those cards. But it's not really strictly card advantage. But if you sack a creature, Rakdos the Muscle gains indestructible until end of turn. Tap it, activate only once each turn. That's good. Anything that makes something indestructible, I think, is quite good. We got it's 5 CMC. What's going on here? This show is not allowed to end. So we have to give it to another card here. Okay, who else? Who else is spitting cards still? Christopher B. Wow. not on Christopher's game today. Palincron from Uber Tuna. This is a 7-mana 4/5. Enters the battlefield, untap up to 7 lands. So you get a free card. Also, pay 4 mana, return it back to your hand. If you can add double the mana with lands in play, then you have infinite mana. And, ooh, did I see a Thought Monitor somewhere? Where's that Thought Monitor? From Palrog, Thought Monitor. Amazing card. 7 mana for a 2/2. Affinity for artifacts, which means you're usually playing it for 1 mana. Flying, enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards. That's value you can't do without. Okay, now that's the end of the show. All right, thank you very much for showing up, everyone. Everyone who supports the channel, who's a patron on Patreon, a member on YouTube, or those who super chat to be part of the show or let other people be part of the show. And if you screw up with your super chat, well, guess what? We donate it, and someone else is part of the show. So most importantly, we have to thank the coffee crew, who's here in the morning. Or here, or soon, I guess, going to be here in the afternoon. C24 MVP, Uber Tuna, Christopher B. We've got Surefire Selves, Mario, Toads, Arcanus Ultra, Dinglebag, Starfire Dragon, Polrog, David Sampson, Steve Cooper, Mario Mordrak, Tom Squires, Kono, Amazing Crack Monkey, because you guys are the show that makes Coffee and MTG what it is. So keep brewing up them coffees, and we will keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you at the next cup.